bag too, right there. The F equals MAGR contradiction. That's a wrap for that.
What do you guys think about the flat Earth claim of having a limited range of vision? But then when an observer sees the southern stars, they're seeing them all at the same time. That being stars with GPs at the outer edges of the map, the entire outer edge, you're seeing them all at the same time.
From the south?
Yep.
What's the question?
What do you think about the flat Earth claim of having a limited range of vision? Yet when an observer is looking at the southern stars on the Gleason map, they're seeing all the southern stars at the same time, aka the outer edges of the map.
So you want someone that thinks it's a Gleason map?
Are you even aware of what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I feel like your question is going to be directed towards someone that thinks we're on a Gleason map.
You don't have to think we're on the Gleason map. Are you aware of that issue?
That we can see some southern stars. Yeah, all the southern stars if you're in the south.
Just some southern
I don't know
stars?
if you can see all of them at once.
Jeremy, why are you so confident in the flat
It's
Earth?
arrogance. It's
Because
not confidence. It's arrogance.
I'm the fucking best. That's why I'm confident.
You know,
But you think Michael Jordan? You think when Michael Jordan went out there, he was confident?
You don't even know of the issue
Yeah,
I'm talking
I'm
about
like
on the
MJ.
Gleason map, though.
I'm the GOAT.
Does anyone
how
know this
confident are
issue?
you, though? Like 100%. Like honestly, man.
Yeah, no, I understand your issue. You got a big ring, right? And anywhere you stand on, the Antarctica, you could be anywhere on that ring, and you can see all the way over the other side and still see the stars. Yet when the sun goes too far away, you can't see it. That makes no sense. Absolute contradiction. Agree with your point. It's a good point.
Yeah, it was kind of over in December, last December.
People,
What
have
happened
you
in last
considered
December?
have you considered that the Gleason's map is just Deception 2.0 right next to the Globe?
I mean, as soon as we saw that, all of a sudden it turned into a deception. But before that, you guys were all over it.
I don't know who guys are. I don't know who you're talking to. You're talking to me?
Like all of the flat earthers.
That's not true.
All flat earthers are not the same.
Yeah, that's just
all
not
flat
true.
earthers are not the same.
As soon as it turned,
Just because that was presented to people through pictures, through others claiming it, does not mean that everybody thought that's what the Earth was. The AE map, the Gleason's.
Yeah, as soon as we started pointing out the flaws, everyone started to try and distance themselves from it. Mm-hmm.
Everyone.
Yeah, it's not true. I mean, we've talked about problems with it since the beginning. It was a presented conceptual type of idea that was put with the term flat earther. That doesn't mean that thinking the Earth's not a globe and or having a stationary planar cosmology means that you have to think it's that model or map. You just assumed and wanted to put everyone in that. So you don't really understand the deception the controllers are doing on a higher level. They gave a second deception. So you're just getting looped into it by that. You're getting looped into it by trying to think a 24-hour sun debunks a stationary planar Earth. So you're just using that, in order to manipulate and try to use that as a tactic.
All right, here's a good question though. Can the 24-hour sun be explained by the globe perfectly?
I mean, my question originally to you, are you asking me that? Yeah, I've
Whoever
answered
wants
that.
to answer.
Yeah. Yeah, the globe requires a bunch of other assumptions, though, like gravity and 93 million mile away sun.
No. Let's stick with the 24-hour sun, though.
Yes.
But can you show us any gas that'll form up into a vacuum?
Yeah, that's not what we're talking about here. We're just talking about 24-hour sun.
You're talking about the sun, right? And how you think that your globular mess there, well, it's a gas ball in a vacuum 93 million miles away. Can you show us gas forming into a ball in a vacuum?
Nope, I sure can't.
then what the fuck you think is
Ask Jeremy about it.
That's not what I was
Well,
talking
in
about. I mean,
the words
if
of
you want to
Will
change the subject, that's
Duffy, lights in the sky don't affirm the shape of the surface.
who told you that?
So that's
What
Hold on,
Will
there's a
told you
bunch.
Duffy's
that?
Hold on, there's
quote.
a couple things being brought up. If we're going to shift to gas pressure, we could. But B-ball, just on the last thing to be clear, the question I asked you is: have you considered, in your own journey, that the AE map, Gleason's map, etc., was a deception 2.0, and that it isn't what the Earth is? And with the ice wall and the no 24-hour sun and the stars in the south and all, my question was: have you considered that that's not the
No,
only thing that a planar stationary Earth is connected to? So my question is: have you considered that that is a deception? That was my question.
no, I
It
have
wasn't.
not considered it being I have not considered it being a deception, right? Because early on, right, literally 90% of flat earthers were touting that that was the model, trying to make it work, trying to make I don't know, trying to make sunsets work, trying to make pretty much everything work. And then when everyone realized that a lot of observations don't match that, all of a sudden it turned into a straw man, and no one wants to back it up, and that's where we're at now. And then when we saw the 24-hour sun, now it really demonstrated how that map can't work. Now, if you still want to make it a flat Earth, now you have to rearrange the continents in order for distances to be correct. When we all know that the distances on the globe match flight paths, match pretty much everything perfectly.
Where did you get that 90% of flat earthers claim? Do you have any data for that?
Yeah, like every flat earther that used to use the Gleason map.
I
So
think that's
stereotype
actually a
fallacy?
straw man.
And of course it's a straw. Now it's a straw man. Of course.
Well,
what
I just
is
want to know
wrong?
where you
Hold
came
on a
up with
minute.
that
Hold
number.
on.
Can I see the
What
data?
what is that
Yeah, there's no
exactly?
the data. The data is every flat earther that I've ever came in contact with.
What's the kick
Stereotype.
map? Do you not think
Like,
the Earth is what is it that you don't like the shape of Australia? Show me on your globe how fucking big Greenland is. All right, show me any
Okay.
curvature. I mean, you want to
yeah,
sit
yeah,
there
yeah. Just
talk
pull
about your
out
fucking
pull out
flight.
Google Earth and look
Show
at
me how a
how big it
plane
is.
even flies on a fucking ball or lands on a ball. Show me any fucking motion of this
Yeah,
fucking
what's the
ball.
distance? Yeah, what's the distance between Johannesburg and Sydney on flat Earth?
Who
Do
the
you know?
fuck gives a shit about your fucking little
Yeah,
Johannesburg?
that's the
Demons,
problem.
That's
demons.
literally the only thing you guys fucking keep on fucking talking about is shown perfectly on a fucking flat
That's
earth.
the problem.
I don't know what your fucking problem is. Can you show any
I don't have a
curvature?
problem.
You want to fucking cry about that stupid
What would
fucking
curvature
flight?
look like?
Show me some curvature and show
What
me
would
some.
curvature look like?
Show me a fucking gas ball in a fucking vacuum. Why don't you
Yeah,
try to do
get
any
a
of that
telescope
shit?
and look at the sun.
My God, you sound like a fucking broken record with your fucking flight path bullshit. Oh, you guys don't have a map. Show me your fucking accurate map with your
Yeah, pull out
fucking
your phone.
continents.
Pull out your
Show me
phone
any
and open up
distances that
Google Earth.
you fucking verified yourself.
Fucking
Show me how
having a
Calm down,
breakdown,
calm down,
Brian.
calm down, buddy.
goddamn
Fucking dude,
Calm
loosen your
down.
skirt.
Right,
I think
you want a
Brian's
map?
tweet got
Pull out your phone
Brian's.
and open. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, you were speaking. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, I said you want a map. Go ahead and pull out your phone, open up Google
Well, you're
Earth,
gonna
and there
fucking
goes your
show me a
map right
little
there.
cartoon fucking globe. Should I just look at your PFP there and
So
go, "Oh, there's your fucking map"? You sound like a
yeah,
fucking
yeah,
clown.
the
What
distance
have
is in the
you
southern
fucking?
hemisphere.
Have you ever physically measured the fucking oceans? Have you verified any of this distances? Have you done
No, I don't
anything?
have to measure them.
Fucking
All I
shown
gotta do
any
is look at the
fucking
flights and
drop
look at the
over distance?
times.
Have you ever fucking measured motion? Have you got a fucking fireball in a fucking vacuum? Have you ever
Yeah,
fucking got a
it's
rocket
not
fucking
fire.
go in a vacuum? Have you
Have you been to the dome, Brian?
read a goddamn
Have you
book and
seen
watched
have you seen the dome? Have you seen the
sound like
dome,
a
buddy?
goddamn
If you
clown?
if you
Just the
just took the
dome. Just the
time, right? If you
dome.
just took the time to look at the
Wait.
flight, we'll just talk about flights, right? We'll just look at the flights
Wait,
in the
don't
southern
you have
hemisphere. Look at the top.
350 mile
Hold
per
on.
hour jet streams in the south?
Oh,
Wouldn't that throw all flight times right out the
no,
window?
they would have to be. They would actually have to be a lot faster than that. So,
How
and
much
I've done the
faster?
calculations. A
How
lot
much
faster.
faster? What is a lot?
They would have to be like about 600 and 700 miles per hour.
You said you did the calculations. Can you put them in the
Yes, I
side
did.
chat?
No, you know what? I'll link you the videos that I made. How about that?
Cool, thank you.
Go ahead and tag me in the chat, and I'll send them to you.
Just send it right to this chat. Well, I'll see it.
Earth is life. I think what triggered everyone is when you mentioned 90% of flat earthers stick to the Gleason. I think the correction to that is 99% of flat earthers stick to the Gleason.
Well, they used
You know
to,
what?
and then when they
100% of
realized it didn't
people
work.
do is they're
I mean,
fucking
look at
balls.
Shane. Shane still tries to use it.
You guys
Shane
all want to
still tries to
fucking bag
justify it.
fucking Gleason's map. Show me your fucking ball map, man. You got nothing. You got
Yeah,
no
open up
curvature.
your phone.
You got
Open
no
up your
motion.
phone and
You
look
can't
at.
prove dick shit of what you
God.
fucking believe in.
Let me know
You
when
keep on
when I can
talking about
respond.
a fucking map from fucking Sydney or a flight route. You sound like a clown, dude.
I mean, if you actually took the time to look at it, then it might make sense. Do you want to look at it?
You actually took the time to look at the celestial theodolites, you'll realize that the Earth is flat.
I
And you got
have.
shit.
You know,
Actually, they
you know
just
what
had a
happens
presentation
when
all
I look at.
about it.
Okay.
Where were you about that, huh? Where were you talking about
Can you?
that? Now you
Can you?
want to talk about fucking flight routes, dude. You
Yeah.
sound like a clown, bro.
Okay.
You
Let me
got
know when I
nothing
can respond.
that you're on a ball. Nothing. And you want to fucking bring up a fucking flat Earth map. Where's your fucking map? Where's your accurate map? Which one do we fucking use to say, hey, this is an accurate gold map? Which one did you verify?
The globe.
Which one did you verify?
The globe. I
You
verified.
didn't verify shit. You haven't
Okay.
done
Well,
any.
I
you're
verified
asking,
the
so I
Glob.
told
I
you.
verified the
You
Glob.
sound like a clown, bro. You sound like a.
Okay.
If a
You
Glober
done?
spoke like that, everyone would start attacking the Glober. They'd probably
That's
be
true.
banned.
Yeah.
I
But when
don't.
a flat
Yeah.
earther speaks like
I
that,
really
all
don't
the
give
flat
a fuck.
earthers stay quiet and they
I
love
really
to
don't
listen
give
to
a
it.
fuck, dude. I'm fucking
Yeah,
sick
that's
and tired of you guys in this stupid fucking map bullshit and that fucking Sydney flight route. I'm fucking
It's
sick of
pretty
it.
clear you
That's
don't
literally
care about anything. As long as it stays
Why does
flat
it?
Earth, that's all
you got
you're
a guy
interested
in
in.
here
You
that
don't
just
look at
fucking
any
thinks the
objective
fucking stars get
information. You
blocked
just
by a
talk
fucking
shit on
mountain
the
that proves
internet.
the Earth is flat. He
Look
Why
at
just
did
me.
it
He
watched
trigger
can't
you
shut
so
up for
much?
2 seconds.
your fucking
He hasn't
response.
got access to
Oh, what
the
about this
fucking
fucking
TikTok.
flight route?
He's losing
You
his
sound like
shit.
a fucking dumbass clown.
Why does it? Why
All right,
did
you
it trigger you
guys,
so much?
please just stop. Hold on for a second. Please, can we chill? Gatebreaker, what you said is violently false. Please don't do that. Anyways, can we carry on with the actual conversation? Brian, I know you're a bit fired up, but can we stick on a point and you can continue if you want. I hear you're frustrated, but let's just try to stick on a point and please talk over each other. But go ahead,
What
Brian.
was violent was the 55 F bombs that he dropped that you didn't say anything about. Nothing I said was violent.
All right. I just got back. You came back and just basically were being deceptive about people being banned. That's not how we do things here. So that's not wouldn't happen anyways.
Get out of here with
Gio,
that. Let's continue the convo. I don't want to hear that shit.
No,
Fuck
Gio,
off.
what he said was if let's say if I was the one to just jump in and start cursing at whoever I was talking to, it'd be a lot different. That's what he was talking about.
Yeah, but that's just not true, dude. There's Globe guys that go off the handle all the time. So he's just doing a deception.
Gio, let's be clear. Let's be honest, right? If I was to do that, I would have probably got muted.
Moving on.
I
But
guess you don't know
it's
PhD
whatever.
Tony.
Oh, you're just fucking crying, little baby now. Oh,
Okay.
I know I could talk about my stupid little flight route. Oh, you sound like a clown, dude. If
Okay.
that's all you got is a fucking. If that's all you got is that stupid flight
Gio,
route,
you gonna moderate?
back it up,
What's up?
dude. You got nothing, man. You got no curvature and you got no motion. All right, you got nothing. We
Mhm.
just watched
Mhm.
We just watched. What are we on? Week 29 of the
All right.
celestial theodolite that absolutely destroys your globe. Absolutely destroys it.
So answer my question. So let's answer my question, right? So when I ask Alan about where the stars go when they go below the horizon, how come I don't really get an answer?
Why don't you want me to answer something for Alan? Probably because he thinks you're a douchebag. Could it be that?
No,
Could it be because
Since
you're
you
a douchebag?
know about since you know
You
about the
want me to
celestial
answer for Alan,
satellite,
right? That's
can
what
you
you
tell
want me
me?
to do.
Hold
You
on,
want me
hold
to
on,
say
hold
what
on, relax,
Alan's
hold
going to
on,
do.
calm down,
Alan
calm
thinks
down.
you're a douchebag. That's what it is. He
And
doesn't
can
want
you
to.
tell me where the stars go after they're occluded?
Why don't you ask Alan?
I'm asking you since you're backing Alan's
You're the one that's
workup.
asking. You wanted me to answer a question for
Mm-hmm.
Alan. Ask Alan your question. He
I'm
was up
asking
here
you.
for
If
how long doing a
you're
presentation?
backing up his
Did you
work.
ask him a question?
I did. I made a whole video about it, but I'm asking you
What did
now.
he say? What was his answer?
I'm asking you since you're backing up his claims,
And I
right?
didn't hear your question to Alan. Why would you want me to answer a question for Alan?
You're backing up his claim, so I'm asking you, where do the stars
I'm not
go
backing up his
after
claim at
they're
all.
occluded?
I just said there was a whole presentation on there that destroyed your
Did
flat
you pay
Earth.
attention to it? Really?
Of
Did you
course I
pay
paid
attention to it?
attention to it. Where did
Okay,
the star
awesome.
go
So
behind the fucking mountain? It went behind the mountain.
yeah, but where did it go? Where's it? So where's the star at 6 hours after that?
What do you mean?
Where's the star since
What
it's
does it
traveling in its
matter where the
path
star is
across the
6 hours
sky?
after that? The point is when it gets blocked and get occluded.
And then where does it go
And then
after
what?
that? Where is
Then
it at
what?
6 hours
Who
after
cares?
that?
Once it's blocked, who cares?
That's the problem.
No, that's your problem.
No. That's the problem.
Yeah. That is your problem. You
Since
guys all
you
want to think there's something else to it. Once the
you
mountain
hold
blocks the
on.
star, it's over.
You're tracking a star across
So
the
if you're
sky,
tracking
right?
a
In
star
the
until it
same
gets
path.
occluded by a mountain, do you
Then
not understand that?
hold
Do you
on,
not
calm
understand
down.
that? Do you not understand that? You're waiting
I
for that
understand it
star to get
perfectly,
occluded
but
by
the
the mountain.
problem is they
That's the only
ignore.
thing you're really looking for. And you know what happens? It happens on a flat Earth calculation and not on a globe mess. That's what happens. Because that peak
Okay.
should be lower in the sky, but it's not.
Shut the moderator here at all. He just
Okay,
doesn't
can I get
fucking let him talk. Shut the fuck up, Brian.
You go fucking shut the fuck up. I'm fucking sick of you Australian fucks saying, oh, what about the fucking shape of Australia? Fucking why did Australia put a fountain of the fucking Gleason's map in your own fucking country? Don't you guys know what the fucking shape of Australia is? You fucking bunch of
Oh,
cunts.
you
Yeah,
don't
we do
subscribe to the
use
Gleason
fucking
map?
Seppo, and it's not what's on fucking Gleason map, you
You guys,
fucktard.
please hold on. Please relax. You guys, we don't really do all the insults and mudslinging here. So if we want to have a real conversation,
Yeah,
let's
well,
just
why
do
don't you
that.
pull him into line? The other guy that was talking
That's
cannot
why
get a
I'm saying
word.
something. Whoever's interrupting me while I'm moderating, that's why I'm saying something. So, anyways, who did someone want to respond to an actual point?
I mean, I was asking him a question, but he doesn't really want to answer, so it's okay.
You want to know where the star
He wants to curse. He wants to
hours.
curse and everything. So
So you want to know where the star is 6 hours after it got included.
yes,
Why?
that's a good. You should think about that for a second,
No, you should answer the question. Why?
because you're using stellarium. They're using stellarium, right?
Uh-huh. And what
Where
are they
does
using
stellarium
stellarium
say?
for? Why
Right.
are they using stellarium?
Okay.
To watch that star get blocked by a mountain, correct?
And then what do they do
What
after it's
what
gone?
is 6 hours after it gets blocked matter?
Where is it?
Who cares?
Why,
It's 6
why
hours
wouldn't
away.
you want to
I don't
know?
know where it's at. Why do I care? What I cared
So
about is it
why
got
wouldn't
blocked
you
by the
want to
mountain.
know?
The only thing
That's
that
a
matters
huge
is it got
problem.
blocked
Do
by
you
the
want me to
mountain.
tell you where the star is 6 hours
That's
after it's
because your
occluded?
brain is mush.
Hold on. You want me to tell you where stellarium says the star
Doesn't
is six
really matter
hours
where
after
it
it's
is.
occluded?
Where was the star when
It
it got
matters a
blocked by
lot.
the mountain?
It matters a lot, though.
Where was the star when it got
Guess,
blocked by the mountain?
guess where the star is.
Hold on, B-ball, dude. That's a really
It's about
obvious thing.
somebody
So,
else.
B-ball, if you're on a massive planar surface, hold on, can we chill for a sec? If you're on a massive planar surface, you're only going to see a portion of the sky.
Yeah.
Whatever the sky is, whether it's curved, flat, doesn't matter. You're going to see a portion of it on the massive plane. So where the star goes, quote unquote, it continues across the plane. Because if you were to travel that direction, or if you were to have a friend there, or whatever it may be, that person would be, let's say, under the sun, over in Russia or China when it's nighttime in America, and vice versa. So the sun over a planar surface is traveling beyond the portion of the plane that you have access to view, and it is continuing above the plane. So did you not know that's what happens? Oh, it looks like he left. Classic. I mean, he's asking that as if he doesn't know what happens to the stars on a planar surface when they continue across the plane. Maybe he lost connection, but he's been doing that troll for years. It's a complete tactic thing, as if he doesn't know where the stars go. And he just has to assume they go under his feet around a ball because that's his belief, and he's just kind of wanting to push that, I guess.
You have to admit, though, Jill, it is peculiar, though, that when the sun starts to set, right? It's bright. We see the full disk of the sun. Disk of the sun isn't shrinking in size. And literally, from when it starts to touch the horizon, it disappears within a few minutes, right? And at the moment that you see the last sliver of light, you can take out the biggest telescope in the world and you will not be able to see one iota more of the sun.
Yeah, it's exactly what I would expect over a planar surface.
Where in
Does
reality
the ground and the
have you ever
sky are the
seen any
meeting?
object?
That's the horizon. It's the meeting place of the ground and the sky.
There's actually a video of the sun setting. The guy's videoing a sunset, and then he zooms in, and you can see there's space in between the sun and the ground. That's actually a thing.
Yeah, I just disagree a little bit with the telescope, but yeah, you're not going to see through the horizon.
I mean, I don't see how the merging of objects in the distance, you're going to have something that suddenly will be blocked, especially
Yeah,
something
that's
as bright as
exactly
the
what
sun.
happens over. That's exactly what happens over a plane. So if you what you have on a plane, a massive, massive Earth, that there's going to be a distance of the ground layer that you can see. Maybe that's 3 miles, 5 miles, 10 miles. It's different depending on your altitude, your position. And that is it. That's the end of the ground layer for you. So let's say it's 3 miles in some cases. That's it. No more ground for you. That's it. It's the last bit of water. If you're on the ocean, last bit of land, that's it. You cannot see past that land. Then you have the sky. And the sky is obviously expansive. If you have an object in the sky, like the sun, in an expansive sky, that sun is going to be moving across the plane. That is precisely what it will do, is optically and visually converge right at that perspective point of where the ground and the sky meet. And it will be dramatic, and it will
Yeah,
be just as we see it with either
But it's not
stars or the sun
physically
or anything.
converged, right? Like where you see the two railroad tracks meet in the distance with your naked eye, you could take out a telescope or you could take out binoculars and you will see further down those tracks that will see that they're actually where you saw them converge is actually separate. And then once they converge in the binoculars, you could take out a more powerful telescope and look down you'll see further down the tracks, right? And you could even replicate this with a light source, right? Where, oh, I don't see the light source anymore, you take a very dim light source and you go off into the distance, and then you could take out, a telescope or binoculars, sighting scope or whatever, and you will see that light source again. So we don't ever see in reality anything behave in this way, where you have this super bright light source, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, it just disappears out of view. And not only that, a few minutes later, the light from it doesn't even reach anymore, and you can't even see anything.
Yeah, we've actually replicated this in a warehouse without moving the camera or the light. We've made it so you can't see the light. You can zoom in and see the light. The light's just not reaching you anymore. In a warehouse without moving the camera or the light. Pebbles in the pond. Shout out. Shout out to that dude. So now what?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what video you're talking
light,
about. I don't,
light, Jake.
Geo, do you have pebbles? Geo, do you have pebbles on the ponds thing on hand or?
Yeah, it would take me a minute to find it, but I do have it. It's in it's places, yeah. Why, who's asking about it? What, the light disappearing from the bottom?
No, no. Jake's acting like not being able to see the light from the sun is this impossible thing that can't happen on a flat Earth, but we've actually replicated it. So I don't know. He needs to see the video, I guess. Jem, your boy Jem couldn't believe it. He thought it was trickery when we did it. He's like, "This is a trick." Remember that? Remember that Geo on brand?
Well, are you talking about the one where they open the door and you get some cold air in there and it refracts underneath into the.
And then we can't
No,
see the
dude,
light anymore.
No, there's a bunch of examples of this. Essentially, if you have change in temperature, it can cause that bottom up obstruction effect over a planar surface with nothing actually physically obstructing it. So that is a thing. I don't think that's the only factor though of what's happening, but that is part of it. But it has to do with where the horizon is forming. The horizon forms at different places and different days, different times, different conditions. So wherever that horizon forms is the limit of your ability to perceive the ground layer, and then everything else is sky. So anything that's above the ground is going to optically converge at that limit where the horizon is. And you can replicate this on small scale, and you can replicate the temperature change causing the bottom up obstruction, which that's like more of a refraction effect as well, but you have temperature and the horizon that go together to cause the bottom up obstruction and other factors. But
So what's causing the bottom up obstruction when we see the sunset?
the limit of the ground and the sky, where they meet, and the object in the sky, which is passing above, and everything will converge due to perspective at the horizon point as it moves away from you, just the way the perspective matrix is, like the kind of triangle as you're looking at the horizon. So everything will be lowering as it's moving away from you, just like an airplane does when it flies over you, even though it's not changing altitude. And when it gets to the extension point, the extinction of the ground and the sky, you're going to get a dramatic fusing of the optics right at that point. A fusing of the whatever the
So
optics,
is
if it's the sun or if it's a mast of a boat.
the sun is emitting light, right? A ray of light. and that light is
Yeah.
leaving the sun. So how is it being blocked if there's nothing actually obstructing it?
The ocean's colder. There's like an inversion of
Dude, we can
temperature.
already make that happen. We already made that happen. We can make the light in the distance that we should have line of sight on not be visible, bro. It's not like you can have light not reaching you without physical obstruction. We have already replicated this so many times.
To the point
Sky
where
Free
even
did
if
it.
the light,
Yeah,
yeah, but
where
Jeremy,
Yeah,
is
here,
it to the point where
Jake,
even if the light was like a bright light bulb, that not only do you not see the light bulb anymore, but you can't even see it lighting up the room anymore?
Jake, let me ask you this. Can you see in the chat? Sorry, if someone wanted to respond to that, but can you see the chat? Because I
Let me
just I
see.
have an image. Well, no, I haven't posted it yet, but let me know when you can see it. Or you're
Yeah, I'm
looking.
looking at the chat. Mhm.
All right, so I'm gonna post 2 images. Does someone want to respond to the light thing though? Sorry, I kind of distracted from your point. Does anyone want to respond to that before I post these?
Go ahead. Well, it might have been.
Well, did Jake get a chance to look at that high altitude moon setting I posted?
All right, well, hold on. If no one had a quick response to what Jake said, Jake, you'll need to bring that up again if you want to cover it. But let me just post this. Okay, here's this image. These are from the same place. These are the ones that Plain Reality took. These are from the same position on different days. Look at how dramatically different, bro. On one of them, that buoy out there is covered up from the bottom, the whole bottom portion, that whole like kind of rack that it's on, and you can see where it matches. So, dude, look at how dramatically different that is on different days, but from the same position. So the globe curve is not changing every day. It's not doing that. The globe is not waving, right? So the idea that the obstruction is caused by Earth curve is already out the window. It's not the case because the Earth is not changing and the bottom up obstruction changes dramatically on different days. This one, on the one on the bottom, you can see the whole extended plane going out, going all the way up to the shoreline and everything. On the other one, this horizon is, I would say, way closer, which is why the water looks more zoomed in, even though you notice the zoom of the camera is the same. Like the general size of the houses, you look at the buoy, it's all the same. But look at how much closer the water is. And now the globe idea would say, oh, that's a refracted horizon, so etc. They try to come up with that. But you see what I'm saying? That like, the bottom up obstruction is definitely not caused by Earth curve because it changes. And unless your Earth curve is waving, you have to bring in some kind of a changing refracted horizon, in order to even account for it. So now where's your Earth curve compared to your refracted changing horizon? How have you isolated where the curve is? Because what we see is extended plane or less of the extended plane. We never see any consistent curvature of any Earth.
Jake.
I'm actually not fully convinced that he took those pictures from the same spot because I still don't understand why one picture seems to be much lower resolution than the other.
Okay. Quick on like the light and what you're seeing, with the sunset, because I know you're saying it's like someone, it happens fast. It's like a door closes or something and the light's on.
Well, hold on, can I respond to him though? Yeah. Jake, well, you're contesting whether those are from the same spot. They absolutely are. He went through it all in his presentation. But even if you don't believe that can easily be replicated. I mean, dude, this effect happens. I mean, this is not here. If I just pull up real quick the black swan.
Yeah, no, I know.
I
that
like rarely ever. I never really call it that, but because I never really. But anyways, But I am calling it that because whatever. But the oil rigs here, dude, just on these. I mean, look, that same effect is there. So and this is from the same place as well, and this has been confirmed. So I mean, this happens. I mean, it's not like. Are you really contesting whether those are in the same place and that he was at a totally different altitude or something? Because that's kind of sidestepping the point I actually made. So is that the point you're contending? Like, oh, he wasn't at the same spot. This effect doesn't happen from the same spot? Or
I don't think that he was. I don't think that those pictures were taken from the same spot.
You are contesting that this effect happens?
Yeah, I think they were at the same. I think they were at the same height, probably, but I don't think they were taken from the same spot. I think that's why you see such lower resolution in the one where you have more obstruction. Okay. If you look at the detail of the tree, the shadow detail, and you look at like the buildings, the detail of the windows, I don't understand why the resolution looks so much lower in that picture if this was all taken at the same focal length, the same camera.
Well, for that, to be fair, I think I grabbed these screenshots from I felt like Zanuck or someone had posted it. So this is actually, I didn't pull these. I had copied them that Zanuck had posted. I would need to go to the presentation, first of all, to double check and make sure to get the raw ones from there. Secondly, it does look like the one on the top has a lot more haze and a lot more conditions, compared to the one on the bottom. But this is always the way, dude. Like when it's more hazy, you get that effect where the horizon's closer and you don't see far. When it's clear, you often get the effect where it extends out. So I mean, it does fit that, at least in some conditions, where the more clear it is, the further you see.
Yeah, but that was the opposite of the black swan. In the black swan, the clearer picture had more obstruction, and the more fuzzy picture.
Well, those factors,
skewed, right?
change. Well, yeah, like in the ones I just posted, I don't know which one you're talking about. The one on the left, you can see further the horizon, and it does look like the crane's more bent, or there's more distortion, whereas the one on the right, but that's not always the case. So the other one I just posted shows the opposite. It shows that it's more clear when you have the extended horizon, and it's more hazy when it's not. So those two factors, and I've told the guys this, when they say, oh, the bendy crane, as if that's a strong argument, it's not, because there are other ones where you can see further with the horizon that's much further, and it's more clear. And the one that's closer is more distorted. So that has to do with another factor, like the factor of distortion has to do with maybe the time of day, the heat at the time, the particular wind patterns, who knows, the various things. But that's not like always the case. But I was just referring to the fact that when you see further, like outside of the distortion, generally when you see further is when it's more clear, is often the case, and you see the extended plane. Whereas when you can't, when there's like lots of clouds and rain and stuff, you can't see as far.
100%. That's the take home, is that. Anyway.
But I mean, dude, in terms of the two pictures from plane realities, he went through he did the whole presentation on here,
awesome.
and I could go back. Yeah, but he specifically was giving the exact location of where he was at. Because I think he was at a jetty. It's a particular jetty. Do you know what a jetty is? That's what they call like a pier in Australia.
Yeah, I'm aware with everything. I talked to him about it.
Rock.
Yeah, he was on the same jetty, and if you're at the edge of the jetty, I mean, you can't really be in a different position. The way a pier generally. I mean, unless he's like halfway down the pier versus all the way down the pier, but you can't really get at a higher altitude when you're on a pier. It's like it's kind of where it's at. You just get your set spot. So pretty sure this one was from a pier, but I would need to go double check that, or what he calls a jetty. So yeah, dude, that effect completely happens. Now, if you're contesting whether that effect happens, then we have a different discussion. If you agree that happens and that these pictures from the same position have this effect where you get bottom up obstruction or no bottom up obstruction, basically, or varying amounts on different days, then you would have to respond, if you wanted to respond to what I was saying, which is that if it was actually Earth curve, if someone's saying, hey, the reason that sun, because we were talking about the sunset, hey, the reason that sun's cutting off is because that's the edge of the ball Earth. That's the ball right there. That's the edge of the ball. And the sun is going beneath the ball. If you're going to say that, then you are saying that cutoff point is the physical place where the ball exists. And so what I'm then bringing forth is that what you think is the physical place where the ball exists changes dramatically on different days, different times, that bottom-up obstruction effect. So especially the sun is a little different because it's like it's a bigger object and the brightness of it, but it still happens with the sun. So, and then my point from there too was going to say that if it changes, then the globe side has to say it's a refracting horizon. If you're going to say it's a refracting horizon, because the Earth is not waving up and down, it's not changing curvature rates. So if it's not changing curvature rates, then you would have to say it's a moving refracted horizon. Well, if it's a moving refracted horizon, then how have you isolated where the Earth curve is? Because now we know it's not, the bottom up obstruction is not the Earth curve, that's refracted. So if you're just going to say it's a bouncing around refracted
So how does it work on flat Earth?
how has anyone isolated where the actual curve is to believe in the globe?
How does it work on a flat Earth then? Why does it
With
move?
this
Based on distances from getting to point A to a point B, measuring that distance, and then building the model after that.
And we can see that the horizon lifts or drops on different days in different circumstances. Why does it happen if it's
on the globe? The horizon witnessed is always the refractive horizon. It's always the apparent horizon. We never see the geometric horizon. What we're looking at is light. Light bends down to the denser gradient. Light's always bending. So
Roundhouse, do you agree with that? You were trying to get in. Do you agree with that? What he just said?
Yeah, I can't see why there would ever be a time that you could say there's absolutely no refraction. There's less and more. There'd be some days where what you see is pretty much what it is because there's so little refraction. But I think I would agree with that there's never no refraction.
Okay, well, the thing is what he was talking about. So, okay, the bottom-up obstruction, well, this sort of responds to it, but, I mean, he was saying a few things, but let me just ask you, like, the bottom-up obstruction, do you think that's the curve of the Earth?
Caused by the curve of the Earth, but I'll go back to my question to you, though. If it's not the curve of the Earth, right, that makes it obstruct, and it's because of, atmospheric conditions, what is it on the flat Earth? Because we see the horizon lift and drop because of refraction. So what's making that happen on flat Earth?
Okay, well, I would be happy to respond to that from my view, and if anyone else, they can share their views as well. But if you're asking me, I would be happy to respond to that. However, I just wanted to say that the thing is, real quick, and I can share, but just instead of just lily padding or jumping to that, the thing is, you were saying it's a refracted horizon. I just want to say this. So if you have something physical that is blocking something, and it's a globe and it's a consistent curvature, then that object would have to disappear from the bottom up consistently, related to the actual curve of the Earth. Meaning every day it would be the same because it's physically being blocked.
No, that's
And
incorrect.
hang on, let me finish. That's what it would be, let's say, with no other effects, no refraction. It would be consistent. You agree with that? If there's no refraction?
Yes, if there was no refraction, I would agree with that. Absolutely no refraction, the sun would disappear at exactly the same place. Oh, sorry, exactly the same height every day. Yes, I agree with that.
Okay, I promise to respond to the planar Earth response, but can we just finish this first? Because if you and I go back and forth, okay. So yeah, so with no refractive effects, it would happen at the same place. Okay, do you agree that it doesn't happen at the same place every day, all the time? It changes.
Yes, yes, I agree that the horizon does move around.
Okay, now here's my next question. This actually links to the celestial theodolite and how they, with the experiment that Taylor did with the, maybe I should call it a test, but anyways, with the laser and shining through a glass of water and then the knife in the water, and she found that you had to actually have the laser behind the knife physically for it to block it. Like the refracted knife in the water would not block the laser. So my question to you is, if it's a refracted horizon, meaning it's not the real physical place of the globe curve, if it's a refracted horizon, how is a refracted horizon blocking a boat?
Because in the knife and laser experiment, you're using the refracted knife, which is not where it really is. Like, nobody's ever seen a star through a mountain. The light that's coming from the sun is refracted, so the obscuring or the shadow that it creates is refracted at the same rate. Does that make sense?
Well, you'd have to describe what you mean by that. So, well, the thing with the laser and
So
the knife,
what's called the light that's causing the light that's causing the refraction of the knife is a different light source to the laser. They're not the same thing.
Okay, describe what you mean further by that, just so I can understand what you mean. The laser is a light which kind of replicates the sun, I suppose. If the sun is like a thing putting off light, then the laser or the knife would just represent the horizon. And what I'm saying is that for that laser to be physically obstructed, it has to physically be in line with the knife. A refracted knife cannot cause bottom-up obstruction. So if you're saying that this bottom-up obstruction on this globe is changing, the way the boat's cut off, etc., is changing on different days, how is a refracted horizon physically blocking a boat hull, the hull of the boat?
No, in the knife experiment, the laser is not the sun. Sorry, or
Well, I mean, in
whatever
the
you said it was.
analogy, maybe if you want to
Turn off
say
the
it.
other lights. Turn off the other lights in the room. It's the laser needs its refraction to be what obscures it from the knife, because it's not the ambient light in the room is what you're seeing cause the knife to be refracted. And then you go and get a laser and you shine it through the water, which it's coming from a different direction. It's refracted differently, and
No,
you're
the
saying
thing.
that proves that it's not working. Turn off all the other lights in the room, right? Put the laser behind the knife, and tell me if you can still see it. Right? When it's physically, you shouldn't be able to. And there will be a point where you can still see the laser, but physically you shouldn't be able to, because the light of the laser is being refracted.
Well, hold on. So first of all, with the if we want to just go on that for a second, with the knife and the laser in the water, as far as I know, the way she did that, she put the knife in the water, and then the laser is not really about like the path through the water, like whether you looked at it from the side and you saw like, the path of it. It's just about the source, like the red source, the actual source of it. And the other one that Goose did as well, that they showed in the celestial theodolite thing, and then the one Alan did too, where he shows where he has his camera, looks like in a building somewhere. But the thing is that we've all seen, like, that one in the swimming pool where the guy's head is like, looks like it's like 5 feet away from his body. The whole thing, we know that these refractive effects can happen with the laser and the light. The source of the laser is what she's looking for. And the thing is like, if the laser and the knife and the person's eye or the camera are all perfectly lined up, like 180 degrees or, etc., that's when it cuts off, right at that 180. The thing is, though, the knife, like you could be 180 degrees from where the well, okay, instead of being 180 degrees, now go to where you're a little bit off, to where you clearly can see the red laser. If the knife refracts due to the water and it jumps over, it won't block the light. Like if you're more than 180 degrees, basically, even though the refracted optically, it looks like it should, like it looks like it would cut it off, but it doesn't. So what I'm saying is that what I would need to see for myself, like not really needing to debate it, but I'm just saying what I would want to see is a refracted image blocking a physical light or the hull of a boat or something like that, because that's what's being brought here. If the earth is not waving up and down and we know this horizon is moving the way it does, and something would cut off consistently at a physical place on the globe, then you would, like I said, the globe has to invoke a refracting horizon. And then the question is, how can a refracted horizon, where it's not really in that position, it's just refracted, how can that block something physical? And I do think the light with the knife shows at least that it has to, in that case, it has to actually be physically obstructed to be blocked, and the refracted position of it will not block the light.
Yeah, when it's the same source of light that's causing the refraction as what it is the reason that you can see the object, they have to be the same light source. You can't use two different light sources.
So you're saying if she turned all the lights off, you think it'd be different?
I'm saying that when you saw the laser and it appeared to be refracted and go behind the thing, they would happen at the correct time. I'm holding up freaking talking, inverted quotes. It would happen at the correct time because the knife is refracted by the room's ambient light, not by the laser.
Ambient
Well, it's
light doesn't
refracted by the
refract.
ambient
Hold
light
on.
in.
That doesn't even make sense. The laser light is refracted by the ambient light. Light doesn't refract light.
That's not what I said. I said the knife is refracted by the light in the room. It's not refracted by the laser.
Light doesn't refract anything. A knife, a laser beam. When did that happen?
No, you can only see things because of light.
Yeah, but light doesn't refract things. That's not what causes things. Anyways, go ahead, Gio. I don't know. That didn't make sense to me, but go ahead.
Yeah, I think
Well,
that's
I didn't
probably
really
part of the
make
problem.
sense. Well, hold on. Let's just be clear here. So the ambient light in her test with the water and the knife and the laser, there is some lighting in the room that she's in, right? So there's maybe a light bulb or whatever it is. So yes, there is some of that. But that's the same as on the Earth. We have the ambient lighting, and then there's the sun, which does kind of look like a beam of light. Which, in this, I guess, analogy, the laser light would be like the sun. So the question is, can a refracted position of an object block something physical behind it? Do you have any way to show that can happen?
Yeah, exactly what we're talking about. Look out at the sunset and you will see the refracted horizon block the sun.
Okay, but that's actually the thing that's in contention. So we can't just affirm the consequent and just use the thing that's in contention. We would need to see whether this effect actually happens in terms of the capacity for a refracted position to actually block something physical behind it.
You would have the same problem on a flat Earth. You'd have the same problem on flat Earth.
Let me go next.
Well, no, I can respond.
You'd have the same problem on the flat Earth because we see that the horizon is clearly refracted. It moves up and down on a daily basis or hourly basis, whatever you want to call it, and the sun always gets blocked by it. So
Okay,
it's
well,
getting blocked by a refracted object. How's it any different? I don't think it's a win or lose for either side. It's got to be doing something on the flat Earth as well.
All right, man. Hold on, Gio, real quick.
There's a difference,
would be
though.
good?
Go ahead.
You know, it would be good for this to show if light could block if a refracted object could block light. You know, the thing they do with their propane tank with the butane and shit. You have a laser beam behind it, right? And if the thing blocks the laser beam, you know what I'm talking about? Gio?
Sorry, dude. I was writing a DM. Yeah. Were you saying that to me?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you know the thing where they have the little thing pop up? Yeah, they have the little thing pop up over the little propane butane tank or whatever. What you would do before you did that, though, like you do it, see where it's refracting, and what's up?
Oh, go ahead. I just said yeah. Now I know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
No,
What you would do is you'd put a laser beam behind that, right? And then do the thing and see if the laser beam gets blocked by the refracted object.
that would be a
That'd be
good
neat.
test.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good one, right?
that would be interesting to try. I mean, it's kind of like butane, or it's no, it's liquid nitrogen, I think. That would be interesting to try. Yeah. Was that your only point? It would be interesting to try laser on that.
Yeah, I mean that way we could see if the refracted object blocks the laser beam.
Wait, how would it do that? If you put the laser back where like the clay is and you shoot the laser and then you have it refract, try to have it go like skim the top of the propane tank. See, if people don't know what
Yeah,
this
you have,
is, they might not know what we're referring to. If
Yeah.
anyone has,
And have you asked yourself?
yes, you have
Has
the
anyone asked themselves, why is it it's so specific? It has to be a laser because you're
yeah,
introducing another
you
light
have
source.
the laser.
Okay, no.
Ah,
Whoever came up with this experiment knew it was going to give a false positive. Well, you're introducing a light source, not an object. You're
that's
saying can objects
that's
be
just
blocked by a
slander.
refracted image, and then
That's
you go,
slander. That's
and use a
liable.
laser. Then you go and lose a laser to do it. You said a physical object,
You're
and then you
just
go and use a
slandering
laser
people.
to try and justify your point. No, yeah, no. This is a dishonest experiment. Sorry, it is.
Anyways,
no, bro,
yeah,
it's just
you
pretty
have it
basic.
skim the.
Anyway,
You
Go
have a
ahead.
knife in water. You know how sometimes things in water look very displaced, like they're like an inch away, where it's not actually the knife is actually like in the center of the glass, but it looks like it's like an inch to the right. We all have seen that effect. Like you can see it all the time. Like you can even in a swimming pool, you put your hand in the water and you're like, whoa, my hand looks like it's over there. All she did, it was just one small thing Taylor did. She just basically took a cup with water, put the knife in it, and then put the laser behind it. And in that case, it showed that the actual knife had to be physically aligned to with the observer to in order to actually block it, and that the refracted position doesn't do it. Now, I'm not saying that's 100% proof that a refracted image can't block something. I'm just putting it forth as one demonstration that shows that a refracted doesn't. And then Goose did another one, Alan did another one. They've presented three. So I'm kind of linking it into their presentation just in terms of that. Although they're not the first to discuss this. I mean, we've been talking about this for years and, the refracted position. So I'm not saying it's 100% proof that it can't happen. I guess what I am saying is back before about the curvature of the Earth and whether it's there and the refracted horizon. But what I am saying is that if one is going to claim that there is Earth curve there, you would have to say, but it's not the thing that's cutting things off because that changes. So that's not what's actually doing it. Now it's a refracted horizon. And then how can a refracted horizon on a globe that's not really there be physically blocking something? See, the explanation on a planar Earth is completely different. I can give that as well, but it just links back to that. And all I'm saying is that in order to claim that a refracted horizon can block something physically, the first step would be to show that on a small scale or on any scale that a refracted image could actually block something physical. If you could do that, then you'd have like the first part of the theory that it could be the globe explanation. Without that, it really fails on its front. And then it would only require like belief or just kind of taking a leap in logic to think that it's actually happening. That there's physical curve there and there's this changing horizon that could somehow block things.
There's a physical curve. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I know I'm being long-winded, but I guess just finally, because this links back to an argument we were having this morning that I was saying, because B-Ball was saying...
You're just going to keep going again? I can't speak?
I guess so, because I had more to say, but go ahead.
There's a physical curve. It's constantly curving down. At every point of that is basically the obstruction, okay, based on how high you are. What refraction is doing is taking it plus or minus the geometric horizon. At any point pushed past it, you're going to get obstruction. At any point pushed in front of it, you're going to get obstructed. You're just seeing further or less, depending on atmospheric conditions, what you're supposed to see. At any point ahead or behind that is obstruction. Just like on a flat Earth, it's flat no matter what, but you can only see so far. So when you see a little bit, when the conditions are right, you could see a little bit further, but it's still flat. When the conditions are a little bit less, you see a little bit before, but it's still that. Geometric horizon, take out all the air. You've got no atmosphere, no refraction. Okay, you're standing there on the ball, and you look and you see your obstruction. Behind it is the Earth curving down. Put in your air. You're going to see the same thing, but you're going to see a little bit further out because of the downwards refraction. You're going to see a little bit further away, and behind that is obstruction. It's always obstruction. I have a picture to help explain if that doesn't explain it, but that's what's happening. Let me actually post that. Hang on. You see that image I posted? I know this is just 3D models and I didn't make this. It's just to show you the idea. Yeah, am I cut out or anyone can hear me? Okay, well, I'm gonna go back to my game.
Anything with that method. Like, it's not science when I'm working on my car or my computer or a washing machine, but that method is extremely useful. I don't understand why you guys make fun of it. And he walked me through this long rigmarole, and I didn't really get his whole point at the end. I was confused at the very end. Like, what was all that for? Like, why did I walk through you with this whole thing? And he, basically didn't really get his point across to me anyway. Maybe I'm dumb, but it's like that method keeps you from going, well, maybe I'll just commit a false cause fallacy every day for the rest of my life. Or affirm the consequence.
Yeah, there's a lot of assumptions built into a lot of, especially when it comes to astronomy. I was asking ChatGPT about that earlier, about the alleged motion of the Earth, and I was talking about that, and I was just asking it for a genuine, just give me a scientific, just anything that proves that motion and all the rest of it, and I don't know. It just kept giving me assumption after assumption. And I'm like, you realize it's all built in what you're saying though, and it's like, well, yeah. So a lot of science is like that. Like, okay.
A lot of knowledge has built-in assumptions. I mean, if we take it etymologically, and yeah, I understand that's a fallacy, but if we just take it for what it was saying, right? A lot of knowledge, and if we're talking natural science, it's a different thing, but it's it's really interesting how the words work, right? There's a lot of built-in assumptions in a method that eliminates possible variables.
Yeah, I could see why. I mean, look, I'm leaning heavily towards the Earth's a globe, and I can definitely. So the things it was saying, I was like, okay, I like that. Parallax, I can get with that. You know, I can see why you're using this independent variable. But I could also see why there's people like QE and Nathan and all the rest of them, and I can see why they're like, no, it's not good enough. Not accepting that.
Did you say you're leaning towards the globe?
Oh yeah, I think it's most likely a globe, but I don't ask me to prove it to you right now.
Did you use parallax as a proof or as evidence? I'm just curious.
Well, we aren't going to. I mean, it seems like a long explanation that I'm not really. It's a lot of talking, but really, it was more about why things fall to Earth. That was one part of it, and then I'd say there were several other parts to it. But I suppose the cherry on top was the final experiment thing, which isn't an experiment. But yeah, if I just say the TFE thing, you probably know what I'm talking about, Larry.
Yeah, I got you.
I just don't know how to explain that on a plane surface. That doesn't necessarily mean the Earth's a globe, though, of course.
You've never seen the globe, though, bro.
That's true. I've never been far enough away from it. Yes, that's fair. Some people claim they have, though, right? And as I said before, I mean, I'm not going to take their word for it. Some people have said they've been far enough away to actually see the whole thing. Well, not the whole thing. They'd need a big fucking giant mirror for that, I suppose. But
And all the people that do say they've been far enough away to see the whole thing, they're all Masons.
yeah, I think the majority of them were right.
Have you ever been to Egypt to see the Great Pyramids?
It's not really the same, though, is it?
Well, I mean, people have been there and they say they've seen it, so you take their word for it.
Yeah,
But
but seeing the Great Pyramids, is that equivalent as far
no.
as burden of proof and substantial claim and extraordinary claims as walking on the moon?
Well, you might as well just, instead of saying the Great Pyramids, you might as well just say Walmart. What's the difference?
Well, the only difference is the amount of people who have been there and who have seen it. Really.
Yeah, well, that's meaningful, though, right? That's a big distinction. To me, that's meaningful. Like if you say, well, because I've never been to China, but I'm sure China exists. Billions of people live there. Billions of people have born and died there, right? We're talking about a couple of dozen people that have been to the moon, right? Allegedly.
To the moon, but way more than that have been to space and have seen the Earth from a distance far enough to see that it's a globe.
Well, I mean, the images that they show us don't really make sense to me. I mean, how come when they show us these images, we see this massive arc in front of us? I don't quite understand that. I mean, what's behind me in that, POV? Is there another arc? I don't quite understand these images that I'm shown.
Not 100% sure what you're talking about. If you could post
Well, if
one.
these NASA images, you see that huge arc right in front of you.
When you say huge arc, what do you mean exactly?
Well, you see, like, you know what an arc is, right? Like a curve. You see you see a part of the Earth.
The curve of the Earth.
Yeah, right. Allegedly.
Okay.
And to me, I'm like, well, what's behind you? Is it another arc? Right? It's almost as if they're 50,000 miles away from the Earth. If you can imagine holding a giant basketball in front of your face. right? Think about it like
Right.
that.
Right, but if there's a giant basketball in front of your face and you're looking at it, does that necessarily mean there's a giant basketball behind you?
No. I think you're missing what I'm saying to you. They rose above this thing, right? And there's this huge arc in front of them, almost as if they're 50,000 miles away from it.
You know the documentary of silly something happened on the way to the moon when they were pretending. You know the one I'm talking about, right? Has NASA ever come back and try to debunk that and say, hey, no, stop making like what's the word for it? When you put someone down publicly, like they didn't come back and say, hey, well, that's incorrect. You shouldn't talk shit about us and make up like stories. Therefore, the documentary, which has a very huge, implications to their credibility, faking the Earth from a window with a diffused light. Why wouldn't they come out and just debunk that and squash that one? Obviously, there's merit to that video, right?
I think I did see a good rebuttal to that actually, but my memory's not great. But I'm pretty sure, and you'll have to forgive me again because my memory's terrible. But I'm pretty sure there was something later in the documentary that people pointed to. But not only that, I seem to recall Jem Panda made a whole video about that, and I saw a little clip of it. And I think there was a pretty good rebuttal to that. Because they claim they were like, didn't they say they were holding like a piece of card up or something, or they were just using the circular window? I can't remember the exact thing of the actual example you're giving. It's something like that, though, isn't it?
Yeah, defamation. They should come back and say, hey, that's defamation, and have a big lawsuit against this and get it taken down from YouTube. But it's still there. You can watch it. It's on many channels, and they've never come back. I mean, you're talking about what's his name that you're just talking about that's debunked it?
I think yeah, Jem Panda made a whole video about how the moon landings were real and all the rest of it.
Well, it didn't get much traction. I mean, surely if there was something to it, I mean, wouldn't everyone know about that? Like, because it's quite a big thing to be able to debunk that, right?
Yeah, I only mentioned it because I used to. I don't really spend too much time in his server, but I've been over a couple of times, and one of the times they did mention that, and so I think in that video, which I haven't seen by the way, I didn't even watch. I should have watched the video really. I think they made mention that they actually used that little bit. They used that little bit of the documentary, and then they shown further into the documentary there's something else. Basically, they were accusing flat earthers of cherry picking, I think. Although that guy who made that wasn't a flat earther, was he? He was what was that guy's name? Seidel or no?
Sabrell.
Sabrell, that's it. Thank you, Larry. So yeah, they were sort of just accusing people of cherry picking a certain thing and getting it wrong, basically. And
So
now they have the perfect thing with TFE as well, where they can point to something and say, look how flat Earthers got that wrong as well. The 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Look how badly they got that wrong.
well, there were before they did that, there were a lot of people who were saying if there is actually a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, it would prove that there is not a flat Earth. So that's why they went and did that. But now everybody's kind of changed their tune about it. But I got to give Jaron a lot of credit. He went down there, he did it, he saw it, he hated it from what I understand. He was there and miserable because he's from California and it was freezing. But he actually went and did it and saw it and was like, well, this is it. I see it happening, and there's no denying it. No denying it. And I know he's been shunned by a lot of people, but you got to give that credit for actually doing it. A lot of people had a chance to step up and do it. He did it.
Yeah, I know. I know they offered Nathan as well, didn't they? I'm pretty sure Oakley got the invite, but and I don't blame him. By the way, I wouldn't have gone either.
I mean, as far as I know, the offer went out to pretty much everyone. I mean, it was like anyone who wanted to claim it had the chance to claim it. Dave Weiss, for example, had the chance, and he said no. Oakley had a chance to say to take it. He said no.
Well, I remember at the time I was actually thinking I wish they'd took the plane and actually just flown, under this alleged globe and come out the other side. I mean, that would definitely prove it once and for all, right? Depending on which continent or which country he came up on, you could be like, but apparently that can prove there's some logistical problems and also be dangerous.
Well, I mean, like, what do you mean fly under it? You'd be flying over Antarctica, which is on the southern hemisphere.
Right.
Unless you invert the plane and want to fly upside down, which, that's just like stunt flying at that point.
Well, how's about this then? From the view of a satellite or from the view of something that's in free space, right? In this hypothetical, you'd fly under the globe, quote unquote, right?
I mean, like if you're picking a fixed point in space and assuming north is the top of it, because there really is no top to a ball. I mean,
well, you know what I'm saying, though, right?
Yeah, no, I gotcha. But I mean, like if you take a basketball and just on one part of it, you're right top. But then any way you spin it, that top could be anywhere.
Well, apparently it's been done before. But it's not something that's done often. I mean, people have. I mean, I think there's Sir Ralph Fiennes. I think was it Ralph Ranulph? I don't know, something like that. He's claimed to have done it.
What's a long flight?
By walking.
Antarctica is not small. I mean, it's long. I think it's at least as large as the United States, 3,000, 4,000 miles or something. I don't know it right offhand. I don't know it right offhand, so don't quote me on it.
Well, I mean, like north to south circumnavigation allegedly has been done in a plane. And
yeah, I mean, it's hard to do because it is a long flight. Yeah. I mean, you need to be able to carry enough fuel with you, stuff like that. And most times they make stops along the way to refuel.
I know there's one funny thing. I don't know. I don't like this because it's like appealing to the conspiracy theorists, but there was one fella who I probably should look up his name, but he was basically a friend of Richard Branson. You know Richard Branson is, right? The Virgin.
Yeah, yep. Well, I don't know if he's a virgin, but I know you mean, yeah.
Well, apparently he did it. He's basically one of these. He was like one of these. I think the times that he tried to do this in the balloon, where he was doing this sort of around the world type of situation. I think he was his partner or something like that, and very experienced pilot. And he allegedly did this circumnavigation last time I looked into it. But then he mysteriously died later in some plane accident where
as far as I know, he's still alive.
Oh. When I looked into it, this guy mysteriously died, and they never found his wreck or anything. They never found his body or something like that. Excuse me.
Let me clarify. As far as I know, Richard Branson's still alive.
You're talking about I'm talking about the guy who did the circumnavigation. His friend.
Oh yeah, no, I don't know who his friend was. I have no idea if he's alive or not. But also, to my knowledge, I don't think they did a north-south circumnavigation. I think it was just the west around the equator, or one of the tropics, or something like that. Again, this is just off the top of my head. I could be completely wrong. If you want, I'll look it up and try to find out, but I'm sure other people are already Googling it.
Well, militarily, they've got the North Pole in inverted quotes. Same with Antarctica, South Pole. Totally locked down with military. This is like Prison Planet 101. Like you if you don't realize that you're in a situation that is under total control in every aspect of your life, from frequencies to your education to everything, there's no way out of this place, whether it's a globe or not.
Well, you make it sound we're living in the Matrix or like a simulation, which is quite possible.
Just to clarify, because I just thought I'll ask ChatGPT while I've got it open. That guy's name was Steve Fossett. He was an American adventurer, aviator, and record-setting balloonist who in 2005 became the first person to circumnavigate the globe in a solo balloon, also achieved many aviation milestones. Fossett disappeared in 2007 during a small plane flight over Nevada desert. His disappearance remains a mystery, or remained a mystery, for some time, and his remains and aircraft were eventually found in 2008. While his death is generally considered an accident due to a crash, the circumstance of his disappearance led to much speculation.
If he crashed and died in the Nevada desert, I would blame the mafia.
I wasn't casting any assertions to what happened to the man. I mean, who knows? I'm just saying that it just. I remember looking up years ago, like who has
Yeah,
done this circumnavigation in a plane, right?
it,
Because
it's
as a,
usually it's usually the mafia who likes to bury people in the desert in Nevada. I mean, you've seen Casino, right? Great movie if you haven't seen it. Great mob movie.
I'm just asking now how many people have done the north south. It's surprisingly hard to give a precise number because circumnavigation of the Earth by plane via both north-south poles has only been done very rarely under strict definitions. Here's what is known.
Yeah, definitely a lot less people have gone north to south because there's no financial incentive to do it. It's only a matter of like if somebody has enough money and wants to do something to have a claim to fame, you know. Flying around the globe, east to west, I mean, you're going from city to city, so you can get commercial flights doing that.
So, in short, by the strict FAI diploma, in brackets, definition, only 6 pilots on 3 planes, in brackets, to date. So 6 pilots.
I think Richard
That's
Byrd
an
was
estimate.
probably one of them, wasn't he?
That's why I specifically mentioned that Fawcett person because I knew he was in a rarefied air to supposedly have done this thing, and then he died mysteriously. I thought that was interesting. I don't know. They might be more. I don't know. I might be 2 and 2 makes 5 there, to be honest. But it is a bit weird, that isn't it?
No, not really, because like I said, there's no financial incentive for anybody to do it. It's only like, oh, I got a lot of money and I want to do something and have a claim to fame. Unless military does it, which I think Richard Byrd was probably one of the first, if not the first, to do it that way. But that was military funded, and it's very difficult because you need places to stop to refuel. You have to carry enough fuel on your plane. Um, and you know, flying across Antarctica is a long journey. It's not short.
Well, back in the day, they always used to say that it was all east to west, and whenever ever anybody attempted this such a thing, like for instance, you know the actor Ewan McGregor, right?
Yeah, yeah.
He's allegedly done this on a motorbike. My brother watched the series. I didn't watch the thing, but my brother's like you know, he's the real flat earther. He should be here, not me. And
Yeah.
he
Wait,
always
so
he.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
no, I was just going to say
You're saying he drove across Antarctica on a motorbike?
well, this is my point, is that my brother said he looked at the route he took and he just came back on himself. And this was the old flat earth argument. Anybody that did this essentially just came back on themselves, if you see what I'm saying.
How would he
So
do it
you
on a
went.
motorbike? How would he do it
That's
on a
not the
motorbike?
old
It's
flat Earth
water.
argument.
So if I understand you correctly, basically he started at one point of Antarctica, went to the South Pole, and then returned to the same spot he started.
Yeah, they didn't actually go around anything. They didn't go around the globe, basically.
Well, I mean, you can't go around the globe on a motorbike.
No, you'd need obviously some
Plane,
assistance.
plane, planes, trains, and automobiles.
Yeah, you're going to need some assistance.
That's what I think the actual circumpolar navigation challenge is, as far as I'm concerned, or what I think it really should be, or what it always was,
It's not about just dipping down in there. By the way, Andy, I sent you some videos you can check out if you haven't checked your DMs. But yeah, it would be going all along the international date line from the North Pole to the South Pole, all the way straight up the blue side of the ball that they say is there, right? My understanding is that actually that's not possible because
What
it's
do
a
you
dual
mean?
pole and the
What do you,
international date line is halfway down south of south and halfway up north of north, and that's the trick. There's two
what do you mean
poles,
by the blue
international
side?
date line. Well, when you see the globe and it's like all water on one side and then the continents are on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, the Pacific Ocean is pretty huge.
Yeah. So if you took the Pacific Ocean, right, and you stretched it out north of north and stretched it out south of south, and it's the same exact area, water wise and coordinate wise, that's a dual pole flat Earth. And there's no back of the ball. It's just they took the ocean water that was spread down below and spread up above the Pacific Rim, and maybe why they call it that, right? And it's just water surrounding all of the continents with two poles, and the blue side of the ball, you could be going around that North Pole or around the South Pole and think you're going around a ball if you think you're on a ball, but it's just a flat Earth with a bunch of ocean around it. And they gave us the illusion that it's a ball because of all this ocean area that makes you think you're on the other side of the ball. And the international date line is halfway up north of north and halfway down south of south, and never the twain shall meet unless
Well,
somebody could actually prove it. But they could say they did it or claim they did it, and you would never know if they actually did it. Especially if we're talking two pole flat Earth, they could fake it and whatever else too. You never know. But
to
yeah, like
me, to
Point
me,
Nemo. Point Nemo would be right in the middle, but it's
to me,
actually
what is
southwest coordinate.
correct me if I'm wrong. To me, it sounds like you're saying nobody's flown from the North Pole to the South Pole across the Pacific Ocean, which obviously gives you no place to stop and refuel. So you would need to
No,
have a plane that can carry enough fuel to fly you that far, which I don't know the logistics of that, but I don't know if we have anything that actually can
well,
carry that much fuel and be airborne at the same time.
even if you had enough fuel, you could go around the outside. Coordinate wise, it would be just like you're going around the blue side of the ball. You just go around the side, and it would be like you went around the blue side of the ball. Even you could even pass Point Nemo, which is a southwest coordinate on a flat Earth dual pole, right?
Well,
So you could
if you're
think
talking
you're on the blue
about
side of the ball, but you'd have to actually follow the international date line from point to point,
if
and
you're
that
talking
is
about
what I
going
think can't be done.
if you're talking about going around the side, that's more like going east to west. But we're trying
No,
to
it doesn't
navigate
work out
north
that way.
north to south. So
It doesn't actually
I'm
work.
not
It doesn't work out that way. Actually, it would
I'm
be
not.
actually if you're going south. I'd have to show you on the map. But if you're going south, it'd be a magnetic declination. You'd be using your compass. So anywhere away from the South Pole, the magnetic declination is going to show you going north, even if you're going around the outside.
Well, that's once you get to the south.
Right.
But if you're starting in the north and then traveling south, you're going to be going
Same
south the
thing.
whole way. Yeah, but
Same thing. Anywhere away from
your
north is
compass
south.
is not
Anywhere
going to
away from south is north.
right. But your compass is going to point north and south, no matter where you are in that you know that travel
Yep.
from north to south. You'll know which way is north and which way is south. When you're in the south, every way points north because you're in
Yep.
the south. So any which way
Right.
you travel from the south is going to
Well,
be north.
the compass always points north. It never points to south. But yeah. But you can
It
always
points.
use your magnetic declination to know if you're if you're north of south or south of north or whatever. You can do that.
Your compass points both north and south.
Well, if you could think of it that way, it's actually just following the magnetic field lines
Right,
towards the
which
north.
there's a south pole and a north pole, and any kind of magnet.
Yeah, it's pointing towards north always. That's the magnetic declination runs from south to north.
Right, but it points both north and south. It's
If you
picking
look
up
at the
both.
if you look at the back of the pointer, it's not really pointing south. It's not really pointing north either. It's just following the magnetic declination, but it points towards the north, following the field lines. Yeah.
Right, it follows the field lines. There's the north side of the
Right.
field lines, and there's the south side of the field lines, and it follows that. So it
Exactly.
does point.
There's
Does
no
it
argument
does
there.
it does point exactly? It points north. It points south. It's you know
Yeah,
that's what
and
a
you would have
line
to be
is.
going. You would have to be going east of north. I mean, you'd have to be going southeast or south or southwest, depending on which side of the international date line you're on. Which you would never know unless you were able to like somehow prove that you're going on a straight line from north to south down the back of the ball. But
Well,
dual pole flat Earth uses it's the model I'm going by. It's half the international date line straight up north of north, and the other half is south of south, and that's the trick. They got everybody thinking that they're going on the other side of the blue ball, but they're just going around the ocean in flat Earth because we know we're not spinning, and we know there's no curvature. So that's really the
um,
only option.
I'm pretty sure if you're crossing the international date line, you're going east to west because that's where the time zones run east to west.
Well, no, I'm saying if you go down the back of the ball, the back of the blue side of the ball, if you look at that, the international date line runs from pole to pole down the back of the ball.
I'm sorry, I'm just not understanding what you mean by back of the ball. But anyway,
Well, the blue side of the ball with all the Pacific Ocean and there's no continents, just islands.
okay, so you're talking about the part of the globe that has mostly Pacific Ocean.
Yeah, the side of the globe that's all ocean. It's like only ocean. That's just on
Right.
the outside rim, above the north and below the south and to the east and to the west.
Well, it's not
Maybe that's why they
only.
call it maybe that's why they call it the Pacific Rim, right?
No,
It's
that's
the
completely
rim.
different. But the Pacific
Maybe.
Ocean, it does have a couple of islands out in there.
Well, Albino, tell
Easter
me this.
Island.
Let's say
Yeah.
let's say we aren't spinning, right? And
Mhm.
we're not on a ball, right? Then it would have to work that way, right?
I it's hard for me to comprehend how it would be if we were not spinning and we were not on a ball.
Well, just like your obvious reality. How about that?
My obvious reality tells me we are spinning on a ball.
Okay, how about one thing that's self-evident about being on a spinning ball? Something that's self-evident about it. Not an interpretation of the sky, but something self-evident that you would never have to be told anything about, and you would know you're
Is-
spinning on a ball. That's what I mean. Name one
See,
thing that's self-evident.
this is the one thing that always gets me with people who believe the Earth is flat. It's like oh, what's the one thing? What's the one best evidence? And it's not about one thing.
Well, you
It's
should be able to come up with
accumulation.
one.
Well,
It's just one.
there's an
You think if that's
accumulation of
your
evidence.
reality, there'd be more than one. There'd be plenty, right? If that's
Well,
your observable
exactly.
reality, like you just said, your observable reality is you're on a spinning ball. Well, if it's
But
observable, then you would have plenty of things that are self-evident about it, right?
right, but one on its own is not very
Right.
strong.
Name one.
It's the
He never
accumulation.
he never said that, but he did ask you a specific question that you haven't answered yet. It's weird.
No, but I'm trying to explain that it's not just one thing because
Yeah, we hear you.
if you
We
take
hear
each
you.
one if you take each one thing individually is very weak. But
Yeah, we heard
if
you.
you
We heard you for the fourth time now. But can you answer his question? Because he never asked you for the one thing that would be the be all of all. He just asked you to name one thing because he knows you can't, and you haven't. There should be many things as this point, and you can't name one.
You said it was your
uh
obvious reality. You said it was your obvious reality, so I thought obvious reality would include one thing that's self-evident, right?
GPS satellites work and they help navigate ships that deliver all the cargo across the seas. How about that?
Yeah, that's not self-evident. You know
Yeah,
what
it is.
self-evident means? No, I said not an interpretation of something in the sky that you can't prove to yourself.
That's not an interpretation of something in the sky. Well, what's your
You
definition of
never remember.
self-evident then?
Something that if you were born on this earth and never had any, like, there's no tech or anywhere, you've never learned about space balls or flying through, you never heard the stories, right? You were just born here, natural man. You never heard any of those stories about the sky or about satellites, something that would be self evident about your reality being that you're on a spinning ball.
Right. Well, if that happened, it would take hundreds of years for me to come up with those types of observations to figure things
I'm not talking
out,
about observations.
which we have done. We have done hundreds
I'm
of
not
years
talking,
of
yeah, but I'm saying, do
observations
you
to
get what I'm saying
prove
though? It's
that.
all
No,
about
I
the
don't get what you're
stories.
saying.
I'm saying it's all about the stories,
Yeah,
or
but
if
you
it's
want
your
one.
if it's your obvious reality, there would be one thing that would be self-evident that doesn't take any stories, that doesn't take any, like, some guy went to space or we have satellites that are saying this about where you live. None of that, right? I'm not even denying satellites. Whatever. It's just about one thing that you would know about your reality without anyone telling you a story or saying something about satellites. That would be self. You would think if you're on a spinning ball with the outrageous claim of all the speeds and all the curvature and all the spinning and the miles per hour, you'd think there'd be one thing. You think there'd be tons of things, but you can't name one. Does that tell you something?
I started to name one and you cut me off. But anyway, I mean,
Satellites.
what you're
Satellites are
asking me.
not the
You're
thing I'm looking
asking
for. That's not
me.
self-evident.
So I mean, then I don't know what your standard of evidence is. But what it sounds like you're asking me is, if I was in kindergarten, what's the one thing a kindergarten child would be able to say? Oh, we're in a globe that goes around the sun, and without learning anything.
Something like that, but you're a man with all the intelligence that you have. You just haven't learned all the stories that you believe. Something that's
Well,
self-evident that you don't need to check with anybody or learn anything, and you would just know it because it's an outrageous claim. And you said it was your obvious reality, so you'd think there'd be one thing that's very obvious about it. That doesn't need to be a story or something you believe or something you learned.
right, but that's my point. Is there's no one single thing. It's an accumulation of years, of hundreds of years, thousands of years of evidence that people have
Yeah.
collected.
Okay. Do you get my point though? Because there isn't one thing, right? There's not one thing that's self-evident. It's just the
No,
evidence that you believe in. That's all
no,
you have.
you're right. There's not one thing that proves it. No, I think
No, but
it's
there'd be one
each
thing that would be
thing,
self-evident about it. You would
each
think, right?
each
Just at least
each.
admit there. You would think there'd be one thing that you wouldn't have to learn or
No,
memorize or repeat or any of that. You'd think there'd be
not
one thing
necessarily.
that would
Not
be obvious
necessarily.
about it, right?
Not necessarily. Each one thing on its
Well,
own could be very weak on its own, but when you take it accumulatively of all the things together, the evidence gets stronger.
yeah, it's quantity over quality, right? Because a flat earther will say it's obvious that we're not spinning
So
and there's no
okay,
curvature because we would all think
so
that we're on a flat earth without being
so then
told
let's
we're on a ball, right? Do you get what I'm saying about that? The flat earthers
okay.
have the quality of the self evidence that our world is like it seems, which you have to agree. It seems like it's stationary and level, right?
Well, okay, so let's flip it the other way. Give me the one thing that you say that absolutely proves that the Earth is flat.
I can, yeah. I shouldn't have any knowledge whatsoever about Ingleside on the Bay because I never got within 10 miles of it. So at least I was 10 miles away and I was in the ocean. The water was up to my armpits and I could see beach houses from 10 miles away. That one thing is self-evident that there was no 66.6 feet of drop over distance in 10 miles because I should not even know that place exists.
Yeah, it's self-evident the Earth isn't moving unless you learn that you wouldn't feel it because equations that make it so consistent, even though it's not even said to be consistent, and it's different directions and different speeds and all those things that you have to believe the math would work out. So maybe you wouldn't feel it. That all that could be a story. You have to admit, or it could be
I
just
mean,
self-evident and true that we're not moving.
I mean, you want to throw it out there like it's a story, but if you were sitting in an office chair and I came over and started spinning your office chair, and it took 24 hours to turn you around 360 degrees to turn you completely around. in 24 hours, how much of that would you really feel?
They got you with that because it's a scaling thing. I like the clock better as an example. It'd be twice as slow as the hour hand of a clock, they say, right?
Absolutely, it
You've
would
heard
be.
that before, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
but if that
because
clock,
it's true.
if that clock were as big as the circumference they tell us the Earth is, right? The tip of that hour hand would be moving at 1,000 miles an hour, and you would definitely feel that. So just
Well,
by making it the size of a clock and saying it would be really slow because it's a small clock doesn't make the hour hand on a globe go any slower. It's just a way of tricking you into thinking you wouldn't feel it.
Why would
you
you feel it?
say
You only feel
you
acceleration. That's the whole
say
point.
yeah, you
You only
say
feel
you definitely feel
acceleration.
it, but
You only
yeah,
feel
You have
you say you would
acceleration.
feel it. But what math can you do that proves that you would feel it? You wouldn't feel it,
Yeah, I
even
can
though
give you
it's
the
a
measure. The
thousand
math
miles
is
an hour. It's just it's
point
steady.
zero zero 6 G's. Can't feel it. Not feelable. And you don't have any
Yeah, we have
relative
a
motion.
vector
Come
change
on.
of 2,000 miles an hour within a 12-hour period too.
Yeah, yeah, you're going
Not 2,000. No,
25,000 miles in 24
Yeah,
hours.
1,000 one direction,
In,
1,000 the
yeah,
other. So
so it's taking you to make a full circle 24 hours at a rate of 1,000 miles an hour. So it's 25,000 miles in 1 hour in 24 hours. That you cannot feel. That is a G of 0.006, which is you can't feel it. It's not possible. Beyond your
well,
okay,
you're never
your
going to
systems,
convince me. I mean, you could
it's
maybe convince somebody that that's self-evident, but for me, it's self-evident we're not moving for all kinds of reasons. We're not
well,
on a
yeah, it
spinning
feels
ball.
like it's the
You know,
same,
you're not
almost the
going to
same thing.
convince me that I wouldn't feel it. But
It's
also,
almost
there'd
the
be a
same.
vector change of 2,000
It's almost
miles
the
an
same
hour.
thing as
Your
not being able to
ball,
feel it. You're right.
because no, because we're going around the ball, because we're going around the sun, there's a vector change of 2,000 miles an hour.
No, that's not how that
over
works
six
either.
months.
That's not how that
Yeah,
works
it
either.
is.
You're very confused about. It's like the valve
Franco
stem
the
on your
CERN,
tire.
hey,
You think your
Franco the
valve stem
CERN
on
physicist claimed that. It's not my claim.
you,
Franco the CERN
No,
physicist claimed
nobody?
that.
Yeah,
And so did Embo.
okay.
you want to
Listen.
bring that up, but it's over 6 months. It's not instant.
No, he's
Yeah,
Anyway,
you
he's
see
actually
how you have to
has
justify all these things that
anyway,
aren't self-evident?
you're
we're
confused. This is
spinning.
a
We're,
common confusion of things like the valve stem on your car when you're driving, like it's stopping and going because it's at some points it's actually at one with the road and not going anywhere. And then at the top of facing the direction of travel, it's going faster, and it's reversing and going slower the other. That's not how relative motion works. You're just not
I,
thinking
I
it through.
I'm
I'm just
not
telling
like
you, you're not thinking it through.
you definitely shouldn't confuse my point with what you're talking about being self-evident. I asked the guy for one thing. How about you, Zanuck? One thing without learning any other stuff that you just spouted that makes you think you're moving and it's okay that you don't feel it. One thing that's self-evident about being on a spinning ball. One thing. Not interpretation of the sky, not things you've learned, just born here, never knowing anything about the spinning ball story. What would
Well,
be
well,
one
so
self-evident thing that would tell you you're spinning and upside down,
remember,
right side up, and going all these different directions?
I'll respond.
remember,
Yodvo's.
remember. It's 15 degrees per hour that we turn. Thanks, Bob.
Yeah, I heard it.
Yeah, the Yodvo's effect is something you can test yourself, repeatable, different directions, and
Okay, what's
you will determine
self-evident?
There's
What's
there's
train.
self-evident about
The
the
ball
there's
goes
Atmos
train.
effect?
Okay,
higher, always goes
there's
higher, spinning left.
trains. There are trains that move at 300 miles per hour, and you can balance a quarter on its edge, and it just sits there, like it doesn't
Yeah,
feel anything. It doesn't move
one
anywhere.
linear direction. Right. You're not giving me a self-evident thing, either of you. Any
That
baller,
is
give me
self-evident.
one thing that's self-evident.
You just said it
One thing
yourself.
that's self-evident about
Hang
being on a
on.
spinning ball
You
without
just
the
said it.
story.
You hang on. You just said it yourself because on a train you said it's one linear direction. Exactly. We were moving in one
Yeah,
linear
that's
direction at a
different than going
constant
in
speed,
circles. That's different than going in circles at a constant
very
acceleration.
slowly,
It's not even said to be
and
constant.
not at a constant acceleration, at a constant speed.
Yeah, okay, that's like 2015 flat Earth stuff, bro. One thing that's self-evident without the story, the comparison, without without, oh, you wouldn't feel these things that I've been told were spinning at 1,000. You haven't been told any of that. One thing that you would know without story, without comparisons, without
You weigh
anything,
yourself.
just
You
a,
weigh.
just
you're
a
asking
man born
me.
here, just a man born here, you
He,
would think you're on a
he's
spinning
right.
ball
He's
without
right.
any of the numbers. I
He's
know you
That's
don't.
right.
not
I
what
have to
you're
go
He's
anywhere
right.
asking.
with it.
You have
I
less.
know nobody has anything.
Hey, let me have
I
the
know
floor for
none
a
of you
second.
have anything.
You guys, you can't. You're never going to get an answer if you keep on talking. So you're right. You should. You had it totally right. Acceleration. That's not in a straight line. You're right, and that is only measured by things like Yodvos or weighing something at different latitudes. You will get a different value of things
You see,
weighing.
everybody, they can't come up with one
No, no.
self-evident
So I'm
thing.
gonna
They
give you.
have
I'm
to
gonna give you
talk
the one that
about
actually.
all these
And you won't
evidences
accept it.
that
Well, let me
means the
give you the
story's true.
answer. Let me give him my answer. Let me give you my answer. I was just
Nothing
talking
about
for
the
him because
story. Nothing
yeah,
about the
I know
story.
you're
Something
asking a
that
good
would tell
question,
you.
but you're not
Wait,
letting
wait,
anybody
wait.
finish a sentence. Let me
No,
just
but
finish the
Zanuck, you're
sentence.
going off about the story
No,
of
I'm
the
going to
ball
tell you what the
spinning and
answer
not
is. You won't
feeling
let
it.
me get five. That was less than 7 words, and you immediately jumped in and saying, "Yeah, I can't do it." I'm about to tell you. The
No,
Foucault pendulum.
I just want to make sure you're
You don't
clarified.
have to
It's
make
not
sure I
about the
know what you're
story.
saying.
No,
I
no, no,
agree with
Zanuck.
you. It's an
It has nothing to
acceleration.
do.
It's not a straight line. You're
No,
going
it
to
has.
continue to talk over me, aren't you?
Listen,
You're going to continue to talk over
listen.
me. Let me give you
I'm
the
gonna
answer.
clarify, or I'm gonna leave. The
Let
thing
me give
is,
the
you have
answer.
nothing. It has nothing to do with the idea that you're spinning. The question is something self-evident. You would
Let me give
notice
you the
without being told
answer.
anything about it. The
Shut
Foucault
up for a
pendulum is not
second.
something that would make you think you're spinning, dude. You
Yes.
don't look at a Foucault's pendulum and think, I'm upside down and I'm spinning on a ball. You would never think that by looking at a Foucault's pendulum without the story to
That's
go with it.
yeah, because there's only
This
one
is
way
without
that
the
that's going to
story.
rotate every
The
33
story.
hours. Hold on. We have a solar day that is going to be or a sidereal day that'll be something around 24 hours, and this thing's going to take 33 hours at a certain latitude. And I can do that test I've done that test myself, and then I've also seen videos of other places corresponding rotation that would only happen on a spinning ball. So that's my evidence. You asked mine,
Oh,
and
it's
I'm
not
telling you mine.
evidence. I'm not even asking for evidence. That's why I was yelling over you, talking about you were born here. You have no idea that you're on a ball spinning, and there would be one thing that's self-evident that would tell you I must be on a ball spinning and going around the sun and
I
find
ask that
distance.
question all the
What's
time.
one self-evident thing? Not
Yeah, I ask that
evidence for the
question.
ball. Not
Oh my
asking for
God,
evidence
dude,
for the
are
ball.
you on like
I'm
some kind of
asking for
drugs or
one
something?
thing.
What is wrong
I'm
with you?
asking for one thing you would figure out on your own. You make
Yeah,
everybody
Right.
yell over you,
Think
dude. You know that.
no, because you
think
don't
about what
stop
you're asking.
talking.
Think about what you're asking though. You're asking for an answer without an explanation. And I'm sorry, but it's not simple. It's not a simple, oh,
Well, I'm
I
just proving the point. I have to go, but I'm proving the point. There is nothing self-evident about being on a spinning ball, and there would be tons of it if we were actually on one.
there are tons of it, but they all require explanation. And he's oh well.
But that's his point, though. Or he looks like he left. That's the point, though. He's saying, is there anything self-evident that doesn't involve like kind of like a mental gymnastics explanation that you have to kind of make leaps of faith on and kind of
Well,
take the assumptions along with it. You know, like
yeah. If you're in kindergarten, yes, you'd have to take a leap of faith on it. But as you go through school and into high school, you don't have to take a leap of faith on it. You start to learn why these things are true. And
because men think they are, and they
he
teach
doesn't want
you.
to get past kindergarten.
That's just wrong, and you're just trying to mean him as he's not even here now, which is a tactic used by Glovers for like over 10 years. We're onto it now. We really don't want to put up with it anymore. Would you stop, please?
No, I'm
So
not. I
he
didn't mean
asked a
it.
very
I
simple
didn't
question,
mean
and
it.
you fumbled and screamed and had Zanuck come in here and fumble and scream and can't give one. And then finally admit, after 10 minutes of doing all that, yeah, it is pretty hard to come up with a self evident, which is his point. And when pointed out by Geo that that
No,
was his point, you go, yeah, but he's being like a kindergarten. Like he don't want to get past the kindergarten grade. He don't want to
I'm
trust
not.
the authorities enough to realize that when you swing a pendulum back and forth, that tells you're on a rotating sphere, which it doesn't, by the way. It's ridiculous.
I wasn't saying any of that to put him down or anything like that. But I mean, some things require more of an explanation than just a simple yes or no.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. But if you were here by yourself and you hung a ball on a long string and swung it back and forth and it started processing in a certain direction at a certain degrees per hour, you wouldn't go, "Oh, the Earth is spinning." That might
No,
be
you're right.
one thing. That might be one thing you come up with, but that wouldn't be your. I don't even think that would be your first thing. I know it wouldn't be mine.
If I didn't know anything else, and I did that, and I saw it, and I saw the pendulum swing back and forth, and it started processing, and I didn't know anything else, I'd look at that and say, "Well, that's strange," and I wouldn't know why that might be happening. That's
Yeah, I
why I
agree. I agree
say.
with you there.
That's
I
why I
agree.
say that each thing taken individually is a small bit of evidence, but when you
Yeah,
start
yeah.
taking everything as a collective, there's a large amount of evidence that says that points to the Earth being a globe.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that it is because the same things individually can point towards other things. Like when I go on
We
my
can't.
front porch or my back porch and see the sky moving, right? It could be the earth is rotating and the sky is still, or it could be the earth is stationary and the sky is moving.
Right, but you can't take things that happen on the planet individually because everything's connected.
Or you don't have to take things on the stationary plane as a collective either and say, holy shit, man, I'm on a plane that's stationary and the sky is moving, or I'm on a ball that's rotating and the sky is stationary. Oh, but wait, the sky really isn't stationary. It's moving in perfect sync in one direction at millions of miles an hour, or that the stars are so far away I can see them because they're so huge, right? Unfathomable, like you can't even imagine how big they are. And that's why I can see them. That's why there's no there's no perspective to them, and they just perfectly line up year to year, right? Or
Well,
the
they
Earth is
were
stationary and flat,
Rodney, the
and the
problem.
stars rotate
the
at a
point.
certain degrees per hour. That's
The
why they line
point.
up every year.
Well,
Yeah,
let me
or
make
The
let me
that.
make
point
a comment
being.
on
The
that.
point being. Go ahead.
Let me address
Sam
that for you
Zank.
real quick. That could be true, but there's one
Zanuck.
glitch on that. Like, okay, we're stationary and everything's rotating around us. Then we look at the planets and then those distant stars, and then the glitch in that problem is these weird orbits or weird motions that the planets would make, Mercury
Yeah,
and
wobbling and stuff.
Mars.
Yeah, I give you that.
So that
That's
that would
why
be a really weird,
when
hard
you
thing to
add
explain. It
superfluid
makes
and
more.
maybe a crystal like dome, it would create these effects. But until you measure the surface you're standing on, you shouldn't even really be arguing what the sky is because it's even harder to know. You
Well,
you claim to know what the planets are doing billions of miles away or the stars are, but you can't measure Earth curve from like a mile for a mile. It's weird, bro.
sure you
But we
can.
can.
Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah,
you can.
Zanuck.
That's why he's going to post it right now and show a horizontal plane above static water and show the drop of the water. I'm sure you're going to show that right now.
Yeah,
We
a
can
three
if you
degree drop,
want.
a 3 degree
Okay,
drop of the
post it.
horizon, a
Go
three
ahead and post
degree
it.
massive
I think. I
drop
think I
below
can
level,
find that video.
a massive
Did you
drop
hear?
below
Maybe
level.
you probably didn't listen. I'm just going to go ahead and go out on a limb here that you didn't listen when I said you're going to show. You're going to post it right now. A horizontal line, a plane being above static water and measuring down to the water from that horizontal line, showing water falling off from the center point.
Right.
You know,
Okay.
like gravity and everything.
I'm not gonna show
I
that
He's
know
talking
you're
because
about
not.
me.
what
He's
you're
saying me.
saying is it sounds like you've already seen it.
He's going to tell me I'm going to do that, and he's right. That's what I would come back with.
Well, I could do that too, but I'm not gonna bother because it sounds like he's already seen it. So why bother?
He's seen it. Hey, let me tell you, he's seen it
Yeah,
all.
it
He's
seems
seen
like
it
I've
all.
already seen Glober's fumble with this and not be able to show it.
I'm
That's
not
why I said
fumbling.
go
I'm
ahead and
not
post it.
fumbling.
You want me to show
I
it?
would
I
be
can find
amazed
it
if
and
you
show
could.
it.
You're
You
fumbling,
can't show
Zanuck.
what I just said. Or it'd be
That's not what
posted here
Zanuck wanted to
every
hear.
second of the day. There wouldn't
No,
be
they
a
want to hear him
Discord.
fumbling. That's not a good.
There wouldn't be a Discord called flat, talking about flat Earth if what I said could be posted here. And if there was a Discord, Globers would be posting what I just said every second of the day and rubbing it in our face. And we would be
Well,
going
okay.
out and duplicating, replicating it, and saying we're not flat earthers anymore. But
So
since there's
I'll
an
just ask
or,
you. I'm just going to ask you flat out: have you seen that video or have you not seen that video? Because if you haven't seen it, I'll post it. But it sounds like you've seen it.
what video? I'm sorry, I might have missed what video you're talking about.
The one you're talking about, where
No, there's
somebody
no video
measured.
showing a horizontal line above static water and measuring the curve of the water going down. None. There is
Okay,
none.
well then, if you haven't seen it, then I will try to find it for you.
Okay, good luck, sir. I mean, I don't think you understand what I'm saying. If you think there's a video out here, because like I said, if there was one out there like that and it could be replicated, there would be no flat Earth. You know what I can show you? I can show you observation after observation showing concave Earth, flat Earth, spherical Earth. I can show you measurements done by satellites that show lakes that are concave, that are convex in the same lake. I can show you long distance observations that obstruct things on the bottom and that make things appear above the horizon, like higher, not obstructing the bottom. I can show you all types of things that go either or, would work on either the sphere or a flat plane. But the one thing you can't show me that would prove 100% that you're standing on a sphere that's mostly water, that the water curves away from your downward, away from your feet, any benchmark that you start and do a tangent to, the water would be below it. Every centimeter you get away from that benchmark on that plane, on that tangent line, the water would be below the line, not touching it. You can't show me that. There is no video. You know why? Because it doesn't exist. It can't happen.
I know there's a video that I can't remember the guy's name, so I'm having a hard time finding it.
That
There's
one guy
a
that you
video of
think
it.
has that video that would be posted every day in here, you can't find it. That's strange. But anyway, take your time
Yeah,
because I'm here.
because I don't do this every day. This
Yeah,
is
I
not my
understand. Like I
everyday
said, take
thing.
your time. Hey, man, weeks or months, we'll be here because flat Earth ain't going nowhere, and you're never going to find that video. And when you find the video you're thinking of, it isn't going to show what I'm saying because if it did, again, it would be posted here right now.
That's why I always post the pictures of Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens because those two mountains, one being 14,000, the other being 8,000, they should be roughly lined up. But the taller mountain that is twice as far away is well below the snow line of the foreground mountain. That is a great example. See, all your examples of convex and concave Earth and things and flat Earth, that's all done at the water level and with
No, it's not.
I'll talk about
No, it's not.
reflection. Do it someplace where it's in altitude.
The,
In
the
the mountains.
satellites. What altitude are satellites from, Zanuck?
What
They're
satellites are you
not
talking
ground
about?
level. They're taking altitude measurements of lakes and measuring them to be concave. What are you talking about?
Well, no, that's not necessarily true. They have not measured concave. What they have measured is flat spots on the Earth due to the geodetics
No,
inconsistencies that
they
they made.
call it, they measured flat also and
Yeah, they did.
concave.
In the Indian Ocean, Indian Ocean, there are 100 miles long stretches. In fact, if we were out in India and all these people were having this discussion, they'd be in that friggin' area of that flat spot, that geodetic anomaly area, and they would be measuring flat. I mean, here we are 50 miles away, line of sight from a submarine, like boom, no problem. Rain
So
or
you're saying
shine.
it is possible to measure flat?
Yeah, it is because the Earth is a really
And
weird
what
looking.
tools and methods can we use?
The methods we've been using, I haven't brought it up because I don't want it because it would be thrown in my face and I'd be wrong every time because it'd always be a great comeback. Like it's just never used it. But I'm telling you because I'm honest and I like interacting with you guys. But if we were smart, if you guys are smart, you would be able to shut us down by saying, "Yep, here's a flat observation. There's no refraction that's going to explain this. It's in the Indian Ocean in the center there, and that is definitely flat because the geodetics are making it flat. Just like water goes
Economic
uphill,
calculation.
just like water goes uphill at the St. Lawrence River in Canada.
Okay, I want to get in just for a second. We were
Sure.
dunking on you guys so hard and smashing you guys so hard that the government had to step in and change the rules of the game. Just
Really?
thought you should
How?
remember that. Oh, you
How?
don't know about the Wikipedia on every YouTube video that has flat Earth on it?
No. What happened?
Oh,
Oh, they said this is only for your entertainment or something, or it's
no.
not. It's
I guess
suspect.
Sanic has never heard of the fact that the government was like, "Hey, what are you guys going to do about the flat Earth and the fake news?" And the social media companies were like encouraged by the government to change the algorithms around because flat Earth was the #1 search Google term, and then they changed the analytics
Well, that's
and
bullshit.
changed the algorithms.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
believe that's I believe that's possible.
you guys, suck so bad that the government had to step in and like help you guys out.
Well, you guys are so wrong that the government had to step in and sort things out. So not a lot of disinformation was going out there.
They're not going to allow disinformation. Go ahead and say it so we can laugh more. This is pure entertainment. They come up with the disinformation. What are you talking about?
That's what I'm here for. I'm here for entertainment.
I get it. You're being entertaining, saying the government had to shut down the disinformation because public was being so disinformed. They put warning labels on Sasquatch.
Oh, Sasquatch walks around with warning labels on him now?
You know Sasquatch is real, right? I mean, I saw him this week. I was in Lake Tahoe. They had replicas of this guy. So it must be real, right?
Well, you said down they put
Yeah,
warning
Rock.
labels
Yeah,
on
it's
them.
like the mob are trying to put a stop to murders. How are they doing?
I saw the Sasquatch on the ISS. You trying to say the ISS ain't real?
Gotta be real. Sasquatch was on it. You know, people think Sasquatch has this hairy ape, black hair, brown hair, whatever. But what about the one that has white hair? What about the one that doesn't have any hair at all? I mean, come
I mean
on,
the
guys. Y'all
Yeti.
gotta get with it.
I'm talking about the Yeti, and then you got the swamp ape.
Yeah, see, they're all real, right?
Yeah, seen it on TV.
I think
I've
they
seen them on
shaved one of them
TV too.
down. They shaved
Have
one of them
you
down and put him in a suit. He's the CEO of one of those major startups in the Silicon Valley.
have you ever
You see
found have you ever found Globe Squatch?
He's got a round ass. Y'all know y'all have a tough hill to climb now. I think the information is out. People are, we were away this weekend in Lake Tahoe and just sitting around talking to people. They're like, "Yeah, I never heard of that. Well, what about this? What about this?" And they get it so quickly now. Like they understand that they could have been disinformation is real, right? They could have been misinformed, or they could have just blind faith believed their authority figures, and they know not to do that anymore because they've been screwed so bad that they're willing to entertain the opposite view of people, right? Like, oh, really? You think the Earth is flat? Oh, that's cool. 10 years ago, that conversation would have went a lot differently. It's
It's
over.
reached the collective consciousness.
Yep.
were you there? Were you there in Tahoe this week? No,
Yeah.
you were.
We just got home today.
Oh, I should have had. Were you North Shore or South Shore?
Yeah,
We
Zanuck and I
drove,
could have
we
come
drove
out.
all around it,
We
but we
could
were
have
at
all come out.
Oh, you should have. I gave you the. You could have went to Tahoe City. Look right there at that beach, right there, next to the hotel or the restaurant. You look across. You see the Harrah's. You see the
yeah, we stayed at Harris.
well from Harrison. You can look across and see the Tahoe City Beach, which there's no big buildings there because that's the state line. That's where all the casinos are. If you look from Tahoe
Right.
City, and you can see the tree line from the beach, and it'd be nice if it's a nice and clear day. And a lot of these winter days are like that. And then you go up on the road, which is maybe 75 feet up. You got to climb the stairway up to the highway, I guess it's 89 or something right there. And you can then look through with even binoculars and see, well, you can see all the things that were hidden on the shoreline are now revealed. There's no distortion. There's
Are
no
those
like
low level observations?
miraging.
Globers don't use those anymore as proof. They even say it's ridiculous. I'm not sure why you're bringing it up.
Are you over? Is that like Emerald Bay there, or is that? That's there's the that looks
Lake
like
Tahoe.
that looks like the casinos from Tahoe
It
City
is.
on from the road.
It is.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I took them yesterday at about 2 o'clock.
The island one looks like it might be over there by Sunset Beach, or what's that thing called? Sand Beach. There's a sand beach over
I
on
don't
the
remember the names. We
incline by
drove around.
incline.
It took us four
Over
and a
by
half hours
incline on
about
the
around the
Nevada
lake.
side, as you're going on the Nevada side south to South Shore. If you went all the way around the lake,
Huge lake at
Close.
7,000 feet elevation. Crazy.
yeah, it's
I'm, I'm,
fantastic.
I'm, I'm getting closer. I found one, but it's not the one I'm looking for. So I'm looking
Yeah,
at the
still
other
he's
one.
looking at it.
I'm still looking.
But Zanuck, you know all these low-level observations close to the ground, you can't use them anymore as glow proof, right?
But you can do it at Tahoe because this air is so thin up there. Remember, it's 6,500 feet at the lake level, and you don't have any of these. This miraging effects are very, very slim. They still happen, but it's not as often because the air is 20% less, less thick.
The air isn't more dense. The lower you get towards the water, the air is not more dense.
It is more
That's
dense.
crazy.
No, the closer you get to flat Earth, the more dense people get.
No, I'm saying is the air is
Bro,
very
this
thin up
dude is
there.
just here to
The air is
mock.
very thin. The air is very thin up there. You
You're in
still
the
have
wrong place, man.
you still have the exponential degradation of pressure as you higher in density as you go higher. It's no different than anywhere else. The nice thing about going and looking at observations, there's less fog and stuff there. Usually, there's very clear. There's less distortion. There's less smog, and there's also less air, which means there's a lot less refraction. So even looking down a level across the lake, you're getting a lot less refraction than you would if you were down in sea level because there's 20%
No, I
less.
agree. You get a lot less effects. Don't mean the effects go away. Don't mean you should
Well,
be able to
you
see
can see
every grain of sand from across the lake.
you can. I'm gonna post what I just talked about here about because I took those pictures. Maybe it's real close to where you took that picture as well. But here I'll just post them real quick. I'll put them in the chat. One.
To the
Sorry,
guy
I'm
who
getting
thinks flat earthers are dense, you're in the
the
wrong place,
one.
man. There's gyms. There's a couple other places that you could hang out in, and everybody would really agree with you.
Yeah, yeah, no, I'm over in Gems every once in a while, but I got to
Oh
come
yeah,
here once
I
in a
can
while.
tell.
I can come over here once in a while to stir things up. I'm not trying to be rude or
Right,
anything like
you're
that. I
just
mean,
admitting to be a
can
troll.
can can't no, well, I'm not a troll, but can't you take an offhand comment as a joke? I mean, come on.
Yeah, sure. Well, I want to waste
How
my time with
snowflake are
trolls
you?
every day. Like that's what I'm here for. I want a troll to come from gyms that thinks I'm dumb and just spout it over the internet. Yeah, that's what
I
I
never
want to do.
I never said you were dumb.
You said I was dense.
No, I said the closer you get to flat Earth, or the flat Earth, the denser you get. So it wasn't
Yeah,
a.
I heard you.
If you're
Yeah,
taking
you
that
just troll.
if you're taking a
I heard you
personally,
admit to trolling too.
it's an
You come here
offhand
from gyms
comment.
just to troll a little bit. Yeah, just to
If
have a
you're
little
if
fun, entertainment, troll a little bit, and then go back to gyms and laugh about it. Yeah.
and if you're taking that as a personal comment, then maybe you should reflect on your own
Yeah, well,
views,
whatever. Or maybe you shouldn't do it. Yeah,
or maybe
because
I shouldn't do it. Yeah,
I don't think Globers are dumb at all. I think Xanix's one of the smarter people I know. I've learned
yeah,
more from Globers than I ever have from flat earthers.
yeah. But I like to joke around. I just like to have fun. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't mean anything personal to anybody. I mean.